Okay. All right, ready? Hello. Welcome back to Jolly Cove Book Club. We have a fun episode tonight. We are doing it's a book club episode for sure. We're talking about Broken French by Tasha Boyd, which I'm so excited about. But we're also just doing an end of summer girly catch up, talking about our favorite books of the summer, potentially least favorite books of the summer, end of summer TBR, and just whatever other tangents we want to go off on. So I'm excited. I'm one of your hosts, by the way, Sophie, and I'm here with SG and Issa. Please say hello.
Hi, it's SG.
Hi.
I feel like this could be potentially the longest episode we ever do because we have a lot to get into, and it's kind of like a double episode, potentially. But I'm excited about it. Okay, do we want to start with Jolly Drinks Corner, as per usual?
I think Issa should go first.
Yeah. Kick it off, because you're the only one with a really fun drink, I think.
I am so excited to kick it off today, especially because my co-host just dropped the ball, which means that I'm able to swoop in, because every time I always drop the ball. I feel like I haven't had one good Jolly drink since the first
Not
one.
true.
I can't think of any time I've actually put effort into the Jolly drink. So today is really my time to shine. This is my Jolly drink.
Wait, that looks beautiful.
Okay.
Wow.
This is a thought process. SG, you're going to be so proud of me. So
I can't wait.
Because it's very on theme for the book.
I'm so happy.
You know how Josie orders a lemonade in that one part of the book?
Yes.
So I said, I'm not only going to drink lemonade, I'm going to make lemonade.
Queenie Pop.
Why does it look so creamy and delicious?
Yeah.
Because I looked up something a little more fancy, because I was like, if I'm going to go all out, let's go all out. Mm-hmm. So on the Thermomix machine, I looked up recipes for lemonade, and there's one that came up that was limeade, whatever. So it's not even lemonade, but whatever. We took inspiration. It's 2 limes and coconut water. I used Harmless Harvest.
The best.
Wow.
The best. Only the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used a little bit of condensed milk, water. That's what the recipe called for. And then it blends it together, and it looks like this fluffy situation.
That's incredible.
It's really good.
I seriously saw that recipe. I think my mom sent it to me. We're always sending each other recipe reels, and I saw that, and I was like, I need to make that this summer, and then I never did it. So I'm so excited that you made it.
That looks divine.
Sweet and condensed milk.
And
with
I
lime.
have more than enough for everyone, because it made a pitcher full.
I wish we were in person right
Wish
now.
we could
Only we were
virtually
together.
have a drinky together.
No, truly.
Dang.
But yeah, that's my Jolly drink.
That sounds incredible. SG, what you got? We're going to go from best to worst.
Please. I don't know if mine is anywhere. I shouldn't be second then. I should be at the bottom. I have a sparkling strawberry, natural soda from Trader Joe's.
Yum. It looks delicious. It looks
I'm
like
going to say that I took inspiration from the strawberry jam that they ate every morning on the ship.
Cute.
I actually did have a piece of sourdough with
theme.
strawberry jam that I was going to share, but I ate that before we got started. I was so hungry.
So she is on theme, even though she didn't even try. She can't help herself.
Please.
I just made a very basic cup of English breakfast tea. So you can't really see it because it's in a mug. But I have a cute mug on with a palm tree. So.
But Sophie gets a pass because she's she can't really use both of her hands right now.
Okay. So let's jump into life updates, because this is my life update. If you're on YouTube, you can see my fingers are all wrapped up in tape. 2 of my fingers. It's a really boring story, but basically I have some sort of I don't know. I have a problem with my hands. I've had pain in my hand for a while, but it's really, really mild, and it comes and goes a little bit from time to time. It's been maybe 6 months or a year that I've been dealing with this. It's never been bad before with the fact where I can't use my hand, but I woke up yesterday morning in agony because my hand was hurting so bad and I couldn't move it, and I was like, this is insane. So anyway, I went to the chiropractor because that was the quickest doctor that I could go and see, and I was like, can you help me? And also my neck was hurting really bad because when it rains it pours. So I went to the chiropractor. He was so sweet and fixed me up and told me to tape my fingers together for less movement, and I've been resting them a lot. I can't brush my teeth with and it's my right hand, so can't brush my teeth, can't eat with a spoon or anything with my right hand. So it's been tough, but it's feeling a lot better from all the rest. That's my life update. Kind of boring. But yeah, that's why I'm here. I come to you today with air-dried hair and no makeup on and a cup of tea because it's the best I could do today with one hand.
Sophie, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So
thank you so much. I needed to hear that.
I cannot.
Literally. I'm like not well. Look at this. My nails are falling off. Like I can't. I'm a
not the nails falling off. That's when you know it's bad.
It's bad, y'all. Anyway, that's my life update. Other than that, I got a new computer, which has been lifting my spirits.
Love that.
Ooh.
It was time. I had my old one for like 7 years. The space bar completely stopped working, and that was the last leg. I was like, I took it to the Apple store, and they're like, the amount that it would cost us to replace the space bar, you just need to get a new computer because your computer's too old. And they kept saying that it was a vintage status computer, and I was like, you're hurting my feelings.
Not vintage status?
No.
Vintage status. It was 7 years old. I guess that's pretty vintage for a computer, but it did me well. I was sad to see her go. Anywho.
It's a new era.
It's a new era. Okay, I had the most boring life updates of all time. Tell me what's up with you guys. Anything new?
I think my life update is actually the most boring because all I've done this weekend is read.
That's heaven. I love that.
Fun.
I also went out and I went like dancing.
Okay, that's... I saw in your stories, it looked so... There was like disco balls and everything. It was like full on.
Yeah, she's in her Carrie Bradshaw era.
It was incredible. And I had my very first espresso martini.
Oh my gosh, this is the best life update of all time.
Okay, thinking back on it, like it was really good.
And she comes to tell us that she has a boring life update.
Please.
All right.
Issa, do you have any updates for us?
Well, my dad came to town over the weekend.
Lovely.
That was the update. He's been spending a lot of time in Mexico for work, so he came over to visit. And it was fun. It was the first time he stayed over at my house here. Now that we are, married citizens of the house.
Amazing.
And it was so cute. He met Cameron, which is very exciting.
Aw,
for
the
the first time ever.
How is Cameron?
Yeah, we spent literally like the whole day at the barn, basically. But it was very special. He was like feeding him carrots, and my dad was super into it because he grew up around a lot of horses, so he was like loving it.
That is so sweet.
Then Cameron was loving it. At first, his ears were like a little. He was like, "Who is this? What's going on?" Like. This is not a girly pop, because so far only girly pops have been brought to him.
Yeah.
But he loved it. And then I did a lesson, and then we went to dinner with Mario's family, which was nice, because they don't get to see each other often because we're not all in the same place. And then I drove him to the airport the next day on our anniversary. So I just dropped off my dad, and then we celebrated for the rest of the day.
So sweet. I love it.
And that was the weekend.
I guess another life update for me is that I went and saw It Ends With Us this weekend with my mama. Incredible. Like 10 out of 10.
Really?
The movie blew me away. I know there's so much tea that we need to dive into about like the cast and being messy
The
and
TikToks of it all.
and the Blake and the Justin of it all. Yes. But as it's like take away all the drama and stuff, like the movie was amazing. It sounds weird to say I had fun watching it because it's such like a heavy movie, but there's so much like light and levity and like funny moments, and it's so hopeful and like heartwarming that I feel like it was just a great experience. I sobbed for about half of the movie. I was literally like desperate for a tissue. I almost ran to the bathroom to get a tissue to blow my nose because I like couldn't breathe out of my nose. So yeah, it was intense like emotions, but beautifully done. I thought Blake, I know it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I thought Blake was a perfect Lily, especially being like an aged up Lily. And I think that the girl who played young Lily was perfection. It's weird. She like looks identical to Blake. They have the same like beauty mark. They have the same voice. Like it's actually crazy. It's actually freaky.
It's a real beauty mark.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's not even fake.
That's crazy.
I loved it.
I read the book, so I haven't seen the movie yet, but I read the book about 2 years ago, and I remember falling in love with the story and seeing how real domestic violence is and understanding, because I think it's like so easy to be like, why would you stay with that kind of behavior? And I think it like really I've not experienced it, so I know I'm not really one to speak on like whether it romanticizes or not, but I think that it shows how it made sense of why some women stay because they love that person, and it just made it seem real. It personified domestic violence in a way. And one of my friends saw it and she was very surprised that there was no trigger warning at the start of the film. If you just are walking in and watching this film, then it could be obviously incredibly triggering. But the story is so powerful, and I know it's given a lot of women a voice. And I think that at the end of the day, it's such a tragic issue. And so I'm so happy that there's representation of it in Hollywood. My only issue with the promo stuff was like Blake Lively telling people to like wear your florals, grab your girlfriends, you know, like that it's like a chick flick movie, because like it's so much more than that, you know.
It's obviously so emotional and heavy, but like movies are emotional and heavy. It's not the first movie to ever tackle a heavy topic. There's movies where people get shot and there's no like that's triggering. You know what I mean? There's so much crazy stuff and heavy, dark, horrific stuff in movies, and I feel like there's not always trigger warnings.
You would put a trigger warning if someone could feel like relation to it, like if there's like an ED and something that's like really dramatized or something like that people could feel like and domestic violence is just like an issue that is so brushed under the rug. That's why I think like it's so important to put it on there, because like it can bring up like so much personal trauma.
In the book, it's a huge plot twist in the book. It's not like you're going into the book knowing about it. So it's kind of like that's why people found it so powerful and such an impactful story. It's because you're actually rooting for him the whole time until you're like, oh. And that's what makes it so powerful.
This guy's an abuser.
Yeah, so going into it knowing that he is, you're just going to see it through such a different lens and being like, 100%. I don't know, it would just feel, so it would come across so different, I think.
I will say, all of that to say, I think that Justin Baldoni has done a phenomenal job of like pointing people to that, and like I think that he has raised so many good questions about, he's like, I hope that men see this and like get uncomfortable, because like he is asking questions of like, why do women stay? Well, like, why do men abuse? Like, you know, I think that he has done such a beautiful job of pointing it back to what the book is about, and it's like dealing with domestic violence. And so I think on that front, like, what an incredible, powerful thing, in the same way that like the book is so incredible and powerful. So
yeah, agree. And the movie is, in my opinion, identical to the book in all the important ways, like trying to spread this awareness of like, this is why women stay type of thing, and like how it can be, you can actually relate to it in that way, even though you've never been through anything like it. So it was identical in that, and honestly, like scene by scene, it felt identical to me. They just like updated some of the dialogue to make it more current and like funnier and less cheeseball, because you know Colleen can definitely go the cheeseball.
Colleen Hoover can be a little cheesy.
Yeah, so I just thought it was so well done. My only critique is obviously the freaking outfits. Like, she looked like a clown, and it was really bad. It was really bad.
Oh, no.
Like, it was awful.
But is her style described very eclectic like that in the book, or where did they pull that from? Because I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips of it, and it's very weird.
I feel like that was one of the things that like they wanted it to feel like girly and floral, and like wanted to portray that message a little more, because like Lily in the book is like super cute, and I thought more like trendy is what I remembered.
Yeah, I was nervous about how they were going to pull off the gothic flower store, because that's like, it's like a punk goth, like very strange vibe for a flower store, but it's like you get it when you hear why she's doing it. But they pulled, like, it looked stunning in the movie. Like, they really did a good job of not making it look weird or like cringy, because in the book I was like, this is so cringy. But her outfits, on the other hand, they do look better in the movie than they did like from the photos that we got from set that were like leaking.
Oh, those
it wasn't
crazy.
That bad, but like it was pretty bad.
I saw something. I'm not saying that this is true. I'm saying I saw this on a TikTok, and I haven't seen the movie yet, so I want to watch it and like form the official opinion myself. But I'm asking like someone who's seen the movie. Someone said they felt like her costumes almost made her seem more character-like than like a real person, which made it like the story easier to digest, and almost like took away the like realness of it, like that she was just a normal woman.
That's a very interesting take. I don't know. It definitely felt like, okay, like, because I kept thinking, I'm not going to be able to see her as anyone other than Blake Lively. Because, like, realistically, I haven't seen her in that much stuff besides being Serena. And, like,
yeah,
that's pretty much it. So I'm like, this is going to be Serena van der Woodsen. So I guess her having, like, such a different look with, like, the red hair and the outfit, I was like, okay, she is Lily. And she did, like, her acting was insane. Like, so was Justin. So was, like, I feel like the whole cast was just incredible.
I'm excited to watch it. I just texted Mario. I was like, let's go watch it tomorrow. I need to know. I need to make my own opinion.
Isa, I want you to read the book so bad first.
I don't know. Because here's my thought process. I wanted to read the book, and I was like, okay, I'll read the book. But the trailer is already out, and I saw it already. So I feel like that paints it already, that when I'm going to read the book, I'm going to be picturing all the characters as in the trailer, like the world like in the trailer. Like, if the trailer hadn't been out and I hadn't seen it, then I would definitely be like, okay, I know this is going to come out soon. And because it wouldn't have, like, painted my own thoughts for it.
I see what you're saying.
It's hard to not picture those people, but, like, picturing just, like, them as they're described and, like, I don't know. I feel like it would be interesting for you to read it, just, like, reading the book for what it is.
I have to say something. You know why I think I like the movie way more than I like the book? Because because in the book, she's, like, writing freaking letters to Ellen, like, every 2 seconds in the book. And it is the cringiest, most painful thing to get through. Like, oh my gosh, the way I hated it and the way I wanted to fast forward so badly, those scenes in the book. There was, like, one scene, and it was kind of like in a montage of, like, her writing Ellen an email or something. Anyway, I'm so glad that they glazed over that in the movie, because I was like, this is so stupid.
That's so funny.
Isa, just so you know, she's, like, weirdly obsessed with Ellen DeGeneres in the book. I'm telling you, there were so many things in the book that were so cringy, and they, like, got rid of all that stuff in the movie.
I feel like sometimes when books pull in things that are so current, like present time, like references to things, I don't know why, it just makes me cringe so hard. And I think it almost feels very try hard. I find, like, when you're, like, referencing Taylor Swift songs or just, like, things that are so present, it feels really cringy. And I know that maybe that's, like, a timestamp that's actually valuable, because then, like, later on, years into the future, when this book is read, it's going to be very cool of, like, oh, a Taylor Swift reference, that was something, or Ellen DeGeneres, that was something that, like, at the time was very prevalent. Like, it brings more light to the story, it colors it. But if you read it currently, it just feels so
I kind of like it sometimes. It really depends how it's done, because sometimes I'm, like, living for it, and then sometimes I'm like, mm-mm.
It's like when they use their phones in a movie.
I was going to say, I kind of love this dialogue or that point about current things, because my favorite book that I read this summer had an element that, like, was a very current modern day thing that, like, Sophie did not like about it.
Oh, no. We'll get into it for sure. It's not the fact that it was a current thing. It was the fact that the way that the fact that the guy was using it, and the fact that the way that he used it. I can't. Should we just move on to that segment of the podcast? Okay,
please.
Good. Okay.
I want to know now.
Okay, we're moving on to the best books we read this summer. SG's going to kick it off.
I think best book I read and favorite book might be two different things. Best book I read was Malibu Rising. I will not shut up about that book. It was so good.
I need to read it.
Favorite book I read, though, was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez.
Wow.
I read it in a 24-hour period.
Okay.
I read that thing so fast. I loved that book. I think that's my favorite one.
I'm so glad that you loved it.
Or 5-Star Weekend.
Yay. Okay, I read that one last summer, and
by
that was
Elin Hilderbrand.
Definitely, that was my favorite book last summer. So good.
Okay, so what were you going to say about Just for the Summer? Okay,
Just for the Summer, I'm such the villain here, because, like, I know everybody that I've ever talked to is obsessed with this book. I think there's some sort of disconnect with me and Abby Jimenez. I read a bunch of her books. I enjoy them, but, like, I just find them really painfully corny, and it hurts my soul, because I like corny, cheesy stuff. Like, it just is, like, a certain type of cheesiness. I can't explain it. There's, like, something very specific about her humor that I just, like, don't mesh with. And the Reddit of it all is what we were talking about before. Literally, this man goes viral. So this is the premise of the book. The man goes viral because he writes a Reddit thread, blog post, whatever it is. He writes a Reddit post about the fact that every time he dates a girl, they break up, and then the next guy that she meets, they get married. And, like, he's, like, the stepping stool to the soulmate. And then the girl has the same problem, like the main girl in the book.
Yeah, so his whole thing basically is, like, his last roommate, the main character, his last girlfriend breaks up with him, dates his prior roommate, and they end up moving in together. So the main character has to move into a new apartment, and the new apartment has this Toilet King, which is this, I think it's like an actual brand in Minnesota. There's like a big poster,
a billboard
outside of his window, and he's like, am I
the a-hole
for naming his dog after the guy. It's like a really ugly dog.
I just can't. The fact that he wrote a Reddit thread, I'm out. Like, you already icked me out. I'm done. You know?
You already icked me out.
If you're a man on Reddit, no thanks. You are the a-hole for being on Reddit. That's my take. For posting on Reddit.
So anyway,
I can't.
I'm sobbing.
She ends up moving to be near him. They're going to just date for the summer, and they have this, like, certain criteria of, like, what has to happen between the two of them in order for them to be able to go on and find, like, the next people that each of them date would theoretically be their soulmates. So they're trying to cancel out each other's curses.
It's actually such a cute premise. It's just the way that started with the Reddit and the toilet jokes. Like, that was what icked me. And it started at the very beginning of the book with that. And so I already was like, no, I'm not going to like this book from the very beginning. But now that you're explaining it and, like, the premise and the storyline, I'm like, it was cute, you know? It was good.
I think, too, like, this is a pretty long rom-com, if you would call it that, book. Yeah. I think it came in at, like, 400 pages. Yeah. And so you were able to get such a rich view of these characters and, like, truly spent, like, the whole summer with them. And I loved that. I loved that I felt like I was living their lives. It didn't feel like it skipped around a bunch. I feel like it had such thoughtful insights into different family dynamics. It talks about having, like, a toxic mother situation, like toxic parents. It talked about dealing with neglect. It talked about just so many different things in such, like, a really insightful way. I wouldn't say that this was, like, a beautiful way, like, because they talk about how messy these things are, but I thought it was so insightful. It was so impactful. I love this book. This was my favorite. But I think the best writing, best, like, character development, best all of that for me would go to Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
I was going to say one more thing. Never mind. I don't want to be a hater. I was going to say...
No, tell me.
Say it. Need to know.
About just for the summer, how many times did she say, and then I went small, and then I went to my small place, and then I got small? Like, when authors repeat, like, little things like that, kill me.
That was, like, the thing, though. Did it bother you? I forget. Did it bother you in Summertime Romance when she kept talking about carbonated?
Yes. Did we not talk about that in the last episode?
I didn't think we did.
No, you mentioned it in the group chat, and I was so confused. I was like, what are they talking about?
Oh, my gosh.
Carbonated.
So the first time they said it, even the second time she said it, I was like, that's such a cute, like, sweet and very accurate way to depict, like, that fizzy feeling when, like, you just, you know, have a crush on somebody. It's the early days of your relationship. Like, you feel, like, carbonated from the inside. Like, I get it. It's so cute. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Then she said it 600 more times throughout the rest of the book. And I was like, we got it.
Okay, got it.
You had a good one. Good one. That's enough. I'm such a hater. Like,
no, you're not. You're real.
No, I love your
hot takes.
Your honesty.
I don't know why I let, like, little... like, those are, like, little pet peeves of mine, and I, like, let them get under my skin when I'm reading a book, and I'm like, oh, enough already. But I need to get over myself. It's probably so hard to write a book. Like, I can't imagine. If I came up with a good line, I would keep using it. Isa, do you want to go next for your favorite book of the summer that you read?
I only read our books, you guys.
Okay,
we talked
which one
about
was
this.
your favorite? I'm just going from
Which one?
June till now, because that's technically...
Okay, what did we read
summer.
in June till now?
We've read Summer
Swan
Romance,
Song.
Swan Song,
and then Broken French.
Probably Broken French. I didn't read Swan Song.
Yes, G.
So you're giving me two options.
True. She didn't read Swan Song.
Summer Romance and
You're
Broken
picking
French.
that one over
I don't know.
I love this.
I don't know. I feel like I like Summer Romance just as much. Like, they're so completely different. You can't even compare the two.
No, but like, which one did you have more fun reading? That's how I go by. Like, what were the vibes?
I'll talk more about this when we get there, but I felt like I really enjoyed the first half of Broken French. And then I started to not enjoy it so much.
Because it was 500 pages, which
was
so
later. Yeah, I just felt like
freaking long.
It was too long and angsty. Like, it was too long and angsty. Like, it didn't need to be 500 pages of the will they, won't they. Like, I
could not.
Anyways.
Slow burn.
Too slow. Like, ridiculously slow. And I like a slow burn. Like, I love a slow burn.
So then would Summer Romance have been your favorite?
I guess. Because that one, maybe, yeah. Now that I say it that way.
It's a tie between both.
It's a tie. It's a tie.
I
didn't read enough. I just do my assignment and that's it. And that's why I don't have like more to say on this.
She does her Jolly Cove assignment.
I do my assignment and I have to move on. Yeah.
I don't think I got to talk about this in the last episode unless I did and I'm forgetting. But honorable mention for me is Funny Story.
Yes. Okay. She has an update because she was talking smack about Funny Story in the last time we talked about it.
You guys, I love Miles so much now.
No,
I also thought
relate.
I was way further in that book than I was. I was only like a quarter of the way through and I thought I was halfway through. He was still in his like stoner era. His like, we didn't really know him. He seems like kind of hermity. Like he was giving the ick. But then once we got to know him and his heart was just so big and he just like loved people and he was so personable and he loved his family and his siblings and so sweet and fresh. And like Daphne was fine, but like him, sweet Pijam, precious man.
Well, I'm glad it turned around and I'm glad that you liked it.
Oh my God. In that book, when they were talking about the Titanic plot, I laughed out loud.
Yeah,
when she was screaming. Like, in another life, I was in air. I was literally like giggling. That was the funniest freaking thing I've ever read.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, the exact plot of the Titanic.
It
was so good.
We talked about the exact same thing on our Funny Story episode. You need to go back and listen to our
I need to go listen to it now that I'm done.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good balance view because Issa was like not obsessed and I was like loving it.
Not obsessed.
I love it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I have 3 books that are at the top for me for my favorite books that I read this summer, and that's Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan. I've talked about it, I feel like, a lot on this podcast, but same author as Crazy Rich Asians. It's just such a fun book.
Yes.
Like, it's just so juicy, and there's so much going on. It did feel similar to Elin Hilderbrand as far as, like, there's a big cast of characters. You get to know a lot of people. It's a little confusing at first, but, like, there's just such extravagance and, like, the wealth and the travel and the everything. It's so good. I love it so much.
I love that.
And then it inspired me to watch Crazy Rich Asians. Me and Josh watched it last week, and we were like, this is the best movie ever. Like, it's just the perfect rom-com. I love it so much.
That's so fun.
And then 2 books that we did for Jolly Cove made my top, which makes me really happy. Summer Romance and Swan Song. And they're in no particular order. Like, if I had to choose, Swan Song probably my favorite, just because, like, the nostalgia and how much I love Ellen. I might have had the most fun reading Lies and Weddings, though, just because it was, like, I was so surprised by it and I couldn't get enough.
It was, like, unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with 5-Star Weekend, too, and I know you read this one last summer, and there's, like, a whole episode on it. It's, like, I don't want to, like, get too into it.
It's been a while.
But I was literally, like, I don't highlight a ton in, like, non-book club books just because, like, I'm reading it more for, like, my own enjoyment than, like, trying to get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there were 2 different scenes. Like, I literally got my pen and was, like, underlining stuff because, like, the setting was so beautiful and so stunning. And, like, literally Hollis Shaw is, like, my new, like, I aspire to be her, to be waking up early to go getting morning buns for the girlies.
Yeah.
Her decor style is impeccable.
Yeah.
I have a dream of an Elin Hilderbrand, Nancy Meyers collab for Nancy Meyers to direct an Elin Hilderbrand book. Like, can you imagine?
It's perfect. It's literally would be so perfect.
I'm, like, also, like, every time I read another book of hers, I'm like, I want to get Nantucket Reds. Like, I want to go to, I followed Wicked
Island Bakery. Mm-hmm.
Wicked Island Bakery. Like, I'm like, I need to go to these places. She just does such a beautiful job of painting Nantucket.
I know.
I'm obsessed.
We absolutely need to go. Like, I don't know when, but we need to make it happen.
I need to read it.
Oh,
you do, Issa. It's
I can't wait
so
till Issa dives into the Elin Hilderbrand world. It's gonna be so good.
Have you not read any of? Oh, you didn't do Swan Songs. You haven't read any. Start with 5 Star Weekend. One. I wish I started with that one.
That's a good one to start with.
You think like better than Swan Song?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I do actually.
I don't know if it's better, but like it's better to read it first because it gives you more context for Swan Song.
To me, Swan Song was like so like such a fun read, and I loved Swan Song. 5 Star Weekend, like, you know, it's like the element of like you knowing something that like the rest of the book doesn't know, and like you having the missing piece. Swan Song is like, you know that you're missing a piece, but like you don't even know what it is. Like, you nor the characters like know what the missing piece is. And so like 5 Star Weekend is like you have the key, you're just waiting for the other characters to like put everything together or like find the little missing pieces, which I find so entertaining to read.
It's so good. And the twist, as she sent me a voice note and was like screaming, she's like, I just got to the plot twist. Ah! It's so good. It's so good.
I was losing my mind.
I read a lot of good books this summer. I wrote them all down because I was like needing to just take stock of everything. 11 books from June till now. So like 10 weeks. So about a book a week. I feel like that's pretty good. 2 of them were novellas actually. Which I like never read novellas, but guys, okay, speaking of Ellen, she released a short story for Kindle with like Amazon short stories or something. It's called Natural Selection. It was only like 75 pages. I read it in one sitting. It was so fun to read. Like, not by any means like my favorite work of Ellen's that I read because it was so short, but it was really good. Like really enjoyable.
A fun read.
Yeah. I loved it.
I have a question for you. You mentioned in a podcast, I don't remember if it was the last time, you mentioned that there was a book that was so good that was like about a couple that it's like one, kind of like one day, I guess, like the way you explained it, like it's like one day a year that they have to spend together. So what book was that?
28 Summers. 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand.
Summers.
I just finished that last
as
week.
you guys are mentioning books, I'm going on my phone and I'm like adding them to my wish list on
Issa, you need to get
app
on Goodreads. Do you have a Goodreads
And there's
account
too
yet?
many. Like, well, I have an account. I made an account because you told me to, but I haven't done anything with it.
Okay,
like I just made the account.
All of the
but
books
now I have a Kindle.
Yeah,
and I connected it to my Goodreads.
So now you're a true book girl. So you got to get on Goodreads, and you can create like a want to read folder. And then, or I think it's automatically like part of your account if you do it. And so then whenever you select a book, you can be like, add it to my shelf and then add it to your want to read shelf. And so anytime I'm like confused or like don't know what I want to read next, I'll just go to my Goodreads and check like all the books that I was interested in recently and pick from there. It's really good.
That's fun. Wait, you said I need to read 28 Summers. That's also Elin Hilderbrand. So do I still read the other one first or can I read this one first?
You can...
5 Star Weekend.
I think read 5 Star Weekend just so it's I don't know, it's hard. 28 Summers is older.
I feel like your
Ellen.
first Ellen book is a big deal.
Yeah, I would go with 5 Star Weekend just because like that will suck you in and make you like obsessed. Whereas 28 Summers is so good, but it's not the same vibes.
I started out with Hotel Nantucket and I wish I hadn't. Like, because honestly, like I wasn't sure if I was a big Ellen fan. After that, like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like my favorite book I've ever read. And then I read Swan Song and was like obsessed. And then every book I read, I just like fall in love with her more. And like after 5 Star Weekend, I'm like so beyond hooked.
Okay, yeah, so maybe start with 5 Star Weekend.
Okay.
I just looked and I read 8 books this summer, but most all of these have been between mid-July to now. I think I've read 6 of those between mid-July and now.
She's on a roll.
I've been averaging, not unfortunately, it's a good thing. I've been averaging about 2 books a week.
I love that.
Because I've been half reading and half audiobooking, and I subbed my scrolling time with reading. So I always have a book in my hand or my Kindle in my purse.
When you're on a roll and you're just like enjoying all the books that you're reading, that's just the best.
100%. Oh, what was your least favorite book that you read?
ACOTAR. By far the worst book that I read this summer.
That's a hot take. I haven't read it, but
I'm not an ACOTAR girl.
That's okay, fair.
Everybody loves it.
My least favorite book that I read this summer was Broken French.
Oh no. I'm sorry, Issa.
It's my least favorite book that I've read
in your life.
It's definitely not a fave.
It's my least favorite book I've read in the last like 2 years.
Whoa.
That's kind of crazy. I didn't know you didn't like. I feel like we chatted a good amount about this book,
sorry,
and I wasn't.
Issa.
We chatted a good amount about this book, and I was not getting that vibe from you that you hated it.
I wasn't getting that energy.
Okay, we're gonna get there.
All right.
First, let's share our little TBRs for the rest of August.
My end of summer TBR is, well, what 5-Star Weekend was on there, but I already finished that one. Beach read that I'm reading right now, which will close out my like reading all of the Emily Henry books. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. Obviously, we have The Perfect Couple that we're reading for book club, and then I'm gonna try and squeeze in The Soulmate because I got a library card last weekend, and that was like one of the books they had that I'm interested in and like checking out, and I wanted to check out a book, and I was like, wait, this like looks like it'd be the perfect one to transition into like spooky autumn season.
No, it's perfect. I'm excited for you to read Sally Hepworth because I think you're gonna really get into her stuff. She's got a bunch of really good books.
I'm so excited. So 3 more to go. I definitely think that it's doable.
Oh, for sure. We're recording this like middle of August, so we've got a couple weeks left. I know this episode's going to come out the last week of August, so we'll still have a little time. My rest of August TBR is The Blue Bistro. I'm continuing my Elin Hilderbrand streak because I'm just obsessed and I cannot get enough of her right now. So The Blue Bistro is like a classic one of hers that everyone says they love, and it's one of her older ones. I just started it on audiobook, and I'm only a couple chapters in, but I'm really liking it so far. I want to read The X-Vows by Jessica Joyce. Then the last, only one more, is The Perfect Couple by Elin Hilderbrand. So 2 Elin books. It's a reread. I did read it a couple years ago. It was actually one of the books I think I read it in like 2020, like when I was first getting back into reading as a grown-up.
Yeah.
And I loved it so, so much. It's so good. It sucked me in murder mystery vibes. And obviously her show is coming out. The Perfect Couple Netflix show is coming September 5th. So we're all going to read the book, watch the show, and then talk about it on the podcast, which I cannot wait for. Issa, do you have any books you want to read this summer? I mean, I have
like every single book that you guys have said. I feel like after this, I had in my head, okay, I'm not going to watch this movie. I'm going to immediately read this book tonight. I'm going to read it in the next 3 days, and then I'm going to go to the movies. But now I'm kind of like, forget it. There's no time for that. That sounds stressful. Let me just start with Ellen. Let's go into Ellen. Let's watch the movie and start Ellen, because Perfect Couple's going to come out on Netflix. Like,
yeah, you need to
let's
get in your
just get
Ellen
into
era.
that world. Yeah, I want to be
100%.
obsessed in the era before it comes out. So I think that's the direction we'll go. Maybe we'll do like the 5-Star Weekend because you guys said so. And then after we'll do 28 Summers. And then we'll do Perfect Couple. I don't know if that's realistic. Is that, when are we doing Perfect Couple?
Love.
I don't know, but
you can do it. We've
that's
got
my
time.
direction.
We've got time.
Okay.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what you think. Are we ready to jump into our Broken
Please,
French
I'm
book
excited.
club chat? It's only been an hour, you know? This is literally a double episode. I love it. We've had some spoilers a little bit about what we thought about it so far, but brief overall thoughts. What do we think about this book? Issa, you go first. Okay, wait, we haven't even discussed like how this book came to be and why we're doing an episode on it. So
yes,
we usually do books that are quite, if you've noticed, quite like current new releases, books that a lot of people are talking about because that's so fun, and obviously like a lot of people are interested in them. This is a book that I feel like is a little under the radar. Issa was telling us about this book the last time we hung out. She's like, guys, I'm reading this book. I'm loving it. It's about like, it's set on a yacht. It's about an older guy. Like there's an age gap. Yada. She was like really hyping it up. And I was like, stop. I think I know what book you're talking about. I haven't read it, but I know what you're talking about because I've heard about this book that's set on a yacht and I have it on my Kindle. I was so excited that she was reading it. And then she like talked it up so much that me and Ashley were like, okay, well, we obviously need to read this book. So we all ended up reading it. And we were like, okay, let's just like do a little recap on the podcast, like a little mini whatever. Because it's a book for sure, but it's definitely how do we explain?
Okay, I need to give some context. So I was not just like I didn't just come across this book for no reason. I was in the Bahamas and I was like, look, I need a book that gets me feeling this Bahamas, like on a boat energy.
Yeah.
And so I looked up on Reddit. I was like, books, Caribbean, yachts, romance, like give me something. And then this book, there was like multiple books that were listed, but this book came out on everyone's comments, and it wasn't Caribbean, but it was like French Riviera. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It's on a yacht. There's a romance. It's an age gap romance, even more exciting. I was like, okay, great. So I download it. I start reading it while on the boat. It was great. Loved it. The boat was moving, the waves. I could feel it. I didn't know, ladies, how spicy it was. Like when I talked to you guys about it, I had not even read, I maybe had read 15 to 20% of the book because I had just gotten off of the boat. And I didn't it's 500 pages, like literally how was I going to read the whole thing? So I was like hyping it up. We talked about it in the car. We got so excited. And then I found out that this is literally the sexiest book I've ever written in my life. And I was like, I can't have my name on this recommendation. Like, I can't, not I said the fly. So I cannot take credit for this. It was a mistake. I didn't know.
No, this is all because of you. We're only reading it because of you.
Oh my gosh. And then I was like, now we have a whole podcast about this book.
I'm obsessed. No,
honestly, it was enjoyable.
So different though. This is like unique.
So
it's like different for us.
It's
you know,
different for us.
It's definitely different.
I think it brings some value to the pod. It brings a little diversity.
No, I love it so much. It needs to be said that Isa was not just, she was staying on a yacht. So like this book was like the vibe. Like on a yacht, she was on a yacht. Like it was just perfection.
100%.
And
it's perfection.
I love that for you so much.
It had to be done.
And it had to be done. And the fact that I also already had it on my Kindle, I got it back in February on my Kindle because I heard someone like raving about it. And I was like, oh, this looks, and I was in the Caribbean also whenever I heard about the book in St. Martin. And I was like, okay, I want to also read like a juicy novel about yachts and people that live on yachts and stuff. Anyway, that's how I got it, but I never got around to reading it because it was winter when I got home and I was like, this book's 500 pages, I'm not reading it. And then Isa was like, no, it's good, you need to read it. So anyway, a 500-page smut novel we are covering today on Jolly Cove.
Smuttiest smut book.
This is like not our brand, but we're here for it.
Okay, so my overall thoughts, I thought it was such a fun read. I did think it was way too long, like we said, but the setting just like really pulled me through. Like I was on vacation. I'm literally cleaning my house and I'm listening like I'm living on the yacht, but I'm actually cleaning my house. Like it was great. So I enjoyed the setting a lot. I did like I feel like it was an interesting story. Like I don't know. Xavier was something.
Xavier.
He was something, all right.
And I thought the little girl was really cute. She added like if she wasn't in this book, I don't think it would have been a good book because she added so much like heart and warmth to the story. It didn't just feel like we're reading a porno, you know, which it easily could have gone that way. It did not feel like that also I feel like that's why the book needed to be so long because half of the book was sexy, spicy scenes, and the other half was like a good book, you know, with substance.
I did not enjoy this book. And like I was so unbelievably excited for it. I think I built it up in my head too much. I thought it was gonna be more of like first of all, it felt more lusty than love to me. Especially 100%. With like the weird ending with them getting engaged at the end. I was like, you don't know each other. You just accused her of kidnapping your child. Like to me, it was like totally fueled by lust and sex, and that just like totally just like I was disengaged at that point. Mm-hmm. So and like 100%. I think the icky thing was he talked about seeing her in like the back, like literally first couple of chapters, he sees like her bra fly across the room and like, you know, pictures her. Like, ugh, it gave the ick. It gave me the ick personally. True. But I will say, these are my saving graces. This is what I loved about it. The setting, beautiful. They did such a gorgeous job of explaining the French Riviera scenes. When they're going to, like, the markets and that stuff, obsessed. When she's talking about how blue the water is, loved that. Loved the idea of, like, yacht life and all that stuff. But, like, their romance wasn't even romance. It was literally lust. It was lust, not love.
I agree 100% with the lustiness of it all. I felt like it was just like so so sexually charged that by the end of it, I was like, do you even know each other? And with those scenes that you mentioned, that's where I started to also disengage. Like, it was the first half of the book where they were building it out and everything, gaining trust with each other. I felt like I was reading like a Beauty and the Beast fanfic. Like, for me, a lot of, and I don't know if that was purposeful. I felt like there were so many references. Like, it almost felt like Lumiere and Mrs. Potts were like the crew, and it was very much
I'm obsessed with this.
If you read it with that lens, which is like, I thought that in the beginning, and then the whole book I couldn't get away from it, and like her friends and everybody, like, it was very much Beauty and the Beast, with him being like broody and angsty, and then like he warms up to her, then pulls away, and she's like wishy-washy, all confused, and they're taking care of this child. Like, the whole thing.
And she's like smart. She's an architect.
Yeah, she's smart, and he's like this like prince, apparently. I think it had to have been Beauty and the Beast
in the back of their mind. Well, I don't want to be like I promise I'm not just like this big prude. Like, you know, I read ACOTAR, like I like a little spice, but at the beginning when they were basically like, we can't even let her off this boat because like you want her, and like that to me, like when she wanted to quit, she was like, I want to go back home, and he was like, no, we gotta make her stay so basically they could have sex. Like, no,
I didn't read it like that. I didn't think that was why. He just like knew she was going to be a good nanny because the way she interacted with Delphine.
No, that is not why. He said, I'm keeping her here for you. For like him, not for
that's when it started feeling gross.
Because he was getting his spark back, and they heard him laughing, and he was like, oh, he likes this girl.
No.
But it felt like they were using her. Like, they were like, we're going to use her to get your jive back on. And that's going to benefit all of us on here, which is exactly what happens on Beauty and the Beast. Like, like everybody in there, all the little pots and pans are like, we're so excited. Be our guest. Like, he's going to treat us nice if you are here. So they're hype.
Agreed.
It was the whole energy. My overall impression with it, I didn't like that it felt really, really long and angsty, like, throughout. It was too much. I didn't like that it felt like they were using her, and this is what you just talked into, that they were using her as like a rehabilitation center, basically. Like, that was frustrating. I was like, is she like your medicine? Like, it feels like, I don't like that. And then it felt like he needed therapy, like needs a therapist. He's broken. The whole book is broken French. Yep, we pounded the fact that he's like a broken man, but like he has all the money in the world. Can we not talk about like how we're connecting him to some resources? Like, what is the work that you're doing besides like finding a new lover? Like, this is not going to be good for your daughter or for anyone. And then what I did like is what you all said, like the French coast imagery, the food. I felt like the writing style was so good when describing like the wine they were drinking, the outfits. Like, he bought her a dress, or she bought herself a dress. I don't know, but like the description of the dress, like when they go to Saint Tropez, everything.
The club scene,
the club scene.
I loved it.
I feel like we need to get to that.
You loved it?
Not that part. I forgot what happened. I literally, when I tell you that I fast forwarded, and I'm not just saying this, like, I fast forward all of the spice scenes. Like, I just, because I'm tapping through on my audio, Sophie, I can't do it. I cannot do it.
Okay,
grosses
cut this off because I don't want to get this, like, literally take this out because I don't want it to get censored and like this podcast be like, they talked about her. She was wearing this like really thin dress, and like he had his leg like up. Okay, please take this out. I was like, what the?
At the club.
In public?
At the club,
in front of people.
In front of people. Like, and, like,
it was too much.
Crazy.
It was too much.
No.
I was like, girl, there are people around.
I'm glad that I fast forwarded.
Okay, but anyways,
I obviously heard the beginning of it, and then I started
do you not agree?
Isa, I told Wesley it literally read like Wattpad or something like
that. Wattpad, yes. Like, it read like
I've never read Wattpad, but I know about it.
I know it's like that. Like, I know it must be like that.
That is exactly what I said.
Because it's like the way that the Audible just sounds worse, I think, because a lot of it was so heavily cringe.
No,
really?
Trust, it did not read any better. No. Also, they made his voice sound like he was like 16. He was supposed to be like 35.
Yeah, I looked up his age, and I was like, the whole time, I literally thought he was her sugar daddy because the voice was like, 80-year-old grandpa. And
it's like,
then I found out he's 35.
And she's only like 26, 27. So like
she's 24.
Wait,
he's
really?
11 years older than her. Yeah.
No, that's wrong because he was for sure 50. Like, there's no way he was only 35.
No. In the book, literally, she said he couldn't have been over 35.
He was 35
crazy.
and she was 24.
I was picturing him as like 45, 50 the whole time.
Yeah, I thought he must be in his 40s, early 40s.
I would like to go back to her name, that her name is Josephine Marin, and she goes by Josie, right? Josie Marin. Mm-hmm. And I kept being like, Josie Marin. I've heard that somewhere. Before. There's literally a brand
you have
called
some.
Josie Marin.
I was thinking of that the whole time. I thought that was really weird.
That is odd. It was
Bizarre.
giving odd.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Anyway, I enjoyed the book. I found it very enjoyable. Obviously, I skipped through a
Yes,
lot
because you
of
fast forwarded the scary parts.
No, but it was scary parts and all. As a whole, it was enjoyable. The shock factor made it more enjoyable. Like, I was like, like it was an experience. You can't take that away.
You can't deny the experience.
Can't
I will
take
not
that
deny
away.
the experience.
We were on a roller coaster ride and I was here for it.
I loved it. I will say, I feel like Dauphine played, like, she made their romance feel more real to me, because if she wasn't there, they wouldn't really have a connection. You know what I mean? Like, he loved her because of the way that she loved Dauphine, and Dauphine loved her, and like that was their emotional connection. But that was the only real emotional connection they had.
So much.
Besides,
he loved her before she got on the boat. He loved her for the lusty aspect of it, not because their relationship with Dauphine.
Okay, but
that helped it. But he liked her because of her looks.
I hear you saying, but he tried to kick her off the boat first, remember? When she first got there, he was like, no, you're not a real nanny, you gotta go.
He said it was going to be too tempting. He said it was going to be
too much.
tempting.
He was like, I'm going to lose control with this girl on this boat. And that was valid, you know, that was valid. But I think that like you said, the bond with Dauphine definitely made him more into it. Like, there was a lot of scenes where she was like picturing or describing the bond as very like, oh, this is what it must be like, that fierce like motherhood love when you like see your partner. And I was like, this is interesting. Like, she truly, I think, is falling more in love with him because she's like picturing what their life would be together. They're walking on the beach. She feels like they're a real family. And
I was gonna say,
I
feel
didn't
like
like that.
Fell in love with him because of Dauphine. But I think that he fell in love with her because she looked good. She was hot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't like that. On the flip side, it felt like he was just like he was like, I haven't like
it was like 10 years or something crazy
in a million years. Yeah, and I just like, this is my opportunity, and it just felt like I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
It felt ick.
Mm-hmm.
It felt ick. Yeah. But there were so many moments where I didn't feel like he was icky. Like, it was just like in and
I
out.
didn't think he was icky.
But
I genuinely did not. I don't know if I read the same. It must be because I skipped a lot of the stuff. But like, I genuinely thought he was a great guy. I was like, oh, he's so sweet and cute, and like,
so sweet.
I love him.
No.
He had sweet moments. You could tell he was like the savior to all these people on the boat, and they mentioned that he was like a man of great character.
He was such a good guy.
It was cute. He was a good guy. He saved all the people, all the workers on the boat. The crew all had these incredible stories that he had like come in and saved them. So I felt like he must have good personality traits, like moral values. So I was a little bit slapped in the face with all the other stuff.
It only added to like the feeling that this book was more of like a lust story than a love story. I think if you took the spicy parts out, it definitely feels more like a romance, like more lovey, more like lovemaking. But like, it was like they were graphic and like kind of aggressive in some of it. And like, that's the point where it's like, this is lusty, not lovey.
I would be so intrigued to get someone's, because I know that there's girls watching or listening / watching who read a ton of smut, and this is like nothing for them, because I actually have read books that I feel are spicier than this book. This one was just longer, so there was like more stuff in it to skip, but they're probably thinking like we are actual babies, but it's just like, you know,
prudes, babies.
Things are people like different things. This is just not for me personally. Like, I like the story, like I'm saying, but spice is not for me specifically. But I have read really spicy books because people just like hype them up. Like all the Chestnut Springs books, like the cowboy smut books. I read them because people are like, they're so good. The character development's incredible. Like the found family, everything's so good about it. It's just like very, very, very spicy. So I read those / listened to them. I skipped the spice and I love them. Like I think they're so, so good. And there's so much like depth and beautiful characters and like funny things. I don't know. I get a lot out of these like corny smutty books, even though I skip a lot of the smut. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if that makes any sense in the context of what we're talking about, but I like this book.
I love that for you. That's so beautiful.
Thanks. But yeah, like, the point of me saying that was that this is not the spiciest book I read, because Chestnut Springs, I feel, is spicier. They're just shorter books.
Chestnut Springs. Should I add that to my list?
Isa, I was telling you, you needed a cowboy romance in your life, and you said you were going to read it.
No, I love a cowboy. And I
didn't love all of them. There's like a bunch of them. I think I read 3.
To add that. Chestnut.
But I read them out of order because they're all about different characters. You don't really have to read them in order.
Oh, here it is. Flawless?
Yes. I think that's the first
Springs novel.
one. Flawless.
Book 1.
Yeah, I loved book 1 and book 2. Didn't love book 3. And then I read another one from her. It might not be in the same series, but it's called Wild Love. It has a pink cover. That one was my favorite Elsie Silver book that I read.
Okay. I added them all to the wish list.
Okay, should we move on to Broken French Dream casting?
Yes. I'm so excited, you guys.
Yeah. For Josie, you have to picture her as younger. Actually, both these people you have to picture as younger because I didn't realize how young these people were in the book. For Josie, because she's a redhead, she's adorable. I have Isla Fisher from like when she was in Shopaholic, Confessions of a Shopaholic.
Wait, I thought she was a brunette.
Isla Fisher, Confessions of a Shopaholic?
I thought she was a brunette too.
Josie's a brunette.
Yeah, with green eyes.
Are you serious?
I
thought they talked about it like a million times, her red hair. They kept talking about red hair and green eyes.
Her dark waves against her tan skin.
Her dark waves. Wavy dark brunette with green eyes.
Okay, I fully mess it up because I chose this girl who has brown eyes and red hair.
Well, you guys,
showing for YouTube, Isla Fisher.
We take it too literal. Like they all.
It's also
like
just
Blake
about the
Lively
vibe.
is just a redhead. Like we can put a wig on them. We can change their hair, their eyes. Like we can do whatever we want.
That's so funny. I
Like
pictured
we
her as a
have a
redhead the whole
professional
time.
hair and makeup crew at our studio. You know.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, for for Xavier, I love my Xavier. I have. Sorry, I keep forgetting his name.
No,
his
yours
name
is perfect.
His name is William Abadi, and he plays Antoine and Emily in Paris. This is the only thing I've ever seen him in. Hang on, I'm pulling up a photo. There he is. That's my Xavier.
Stunning.
Isn't that like kind of perfect?
Love.
No, literally perfect.
But he's like 50, so not 35.
It's okay. Mine's a little older too. I didn't really dreamcast Josie, but I did dreamcast Xavier, and it was my guy, Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah,
Stunning.
That's
another
good.
perfect selection.
That's really good.
He kind of looks like Patrick Dempsey a little bit in this one, and like maybe a young Patrick Dempsey.
Oh, that could have been a good one because he has blue eyes apparently. And
That's
Patrick
so
Dempsey
true.
does.
But I didn't really want to taint Patrick Dempsey in my head like that. Or
You really hated this man.
I didn't hate the man. I just like it. Truly, like it read like a lusty novel, and I just like don't enjoy like lusty books.
Another reason I was gonna say I didn't think he was so bad is that he wasn't like a horn dog, like horn it up on the Riviera. He he didn't like anybody or get with anybody until with her.
It's true.
He was a one woman man.
But he just felt like a deviant. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was giving like sexual deviant.
That's so funny.
Even though it wasn't like 50 Shades and there wasn't like any crazy stuff, but
Oh God, yeah.
it was enough. Okay, this is who I wanted. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The one and only Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
The Last of Us
love-
King.
He is fine.
There was no one else I could have thought of. And then for the girl, Camilla Morone.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like
That's
that
a good
call.
one.
I love her.
That's a really
Because
really
she's
good
like,
one.
what, 25? She's like in the age
Yeah.
range. I think Pedro Pascal's
Yeah.
a little too old for it because he's like 48, I think. But whatever.
Those are really good.
I love it. They have like college kids being played by like 30-year-olds. So
true. I'm watching Outer Banks right now, and literally that guy is like older than me playing a 17-year-old. So
no,
wild.
100%.
We can do a 27-year-old playing a 24-year-old.
Yeah, we
Easy.
can do whatever we want.
I'm gonna say that I win the dream casting only because my guy's French. Okay.
True. I think you do win. No, 100%
We're going with
you do
winners
win.
and losers here.
I like this should be a competition. Yeah. I think we should start making this a competition. We need to raise the stakes.
You know what? Let's raise the stakes. Let's put a poll on stories.
That's actually fun.
Let's go back. Let's
That's
go back to our
fun.
poll days. And let's
do
put
it.
2 pictures together.
Okay, I'm gonna start doing that.
And let's do it.
Okay, well, by the time we go to stories, I will have a Josie picked.
Are we ready to move along to
Yeah.
book club questions? So SG came up with all these questions because I didn't have a thought in my brain when I finished this book. I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, I didn't really remember anything. Also, we did read this book not knowing we were going to do it for an episode. So I wasn't like, I wasn't that tuned in. I wasn't like looking for stuff. Anyway, and I scoured the internet. Not a single person has ever done a book club on this book. So hopefully this episode is a hit.
They're probably going to think we're the biggest
Please.
bunch of prudes. The 2 of us that read the spicy parts hated it. Sophie didn't even read the spicy parts.
So silly. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I was like, ladies, please let me know what to put for the discussion questions because I've got nothing. And SG came through. So, question number 1. What did you think when Xavier blamed Josie for the kidnapping? Would his simple apology have been enough to make you go back?
Absolutely not.
No.
Oh, I think for sure
No,
I would go
immediate
back.
no.
Honestly, that is what
I would.
sealed the deal.
Sophie.
Wait, what'd she say?
Yeah.
She said immediately go back.
It made me respect him more because, like,
Are you okay? Are we living in the
Girl,
same dimension?
the daughter should always come first. And you don't know this woman that well. You've known her for a week. Like, yeah, I would be suspicious. And she talked to that guy. She had his card with her. Like, there were reasons to suspect.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
sorry. I give reasons to suspect, but he didn't have to ice her out like that. Like, he acted like a buffoon. And then he didn't even really apologize. He was just like making out with her and was like, do you forgive me? Whatever. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Like,
I
it
forgive
would
you,
absolutely
Xavier.
pain me. It would pain me to think that, like, I'm in a relationship with someone who is that, like, powerful and has, like, groupies and people, and he has to protect himself from being used and abused, whatever. And it would kill me to know that me, the one person that's, like, special to him, he can't even trust me. And he thinks that I might be a groupie that's using him. Like, no, goodbye. Like, I can find
get
another
it.
boyfriend.
I definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like
Yes,
if you're dating
I
a
agree.
celebrity and then he suddenly thinks like, oh, you called the pops on me? Like, you really think that I did that? Okay, bye. I'm breaking up with you. Like, why would
No,
I
it
deal
is
with that?
horrible. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. But, like, your daughter just got stolen. Like, you're going to be a freak and you're going to act out. Like, you're not in your normal headspace. You're not, like... I think it was totally... Obviously not a good thing. But it was, like,
But
it was
it's
reasonable. I thought it was
It's what they said in
reasonable.
the book, though. You and your, like, most chaotic, like, traumatized energy reveals a lot about your personality. And the fact that he acted that way, I was like,
Also,
red flag.
he lashed out violently, like physically. Do you remember when they said he hit the plane seat like next to her
No, I don't remember that.
when they were on the airplane?
I don't know what book I read,
And-
y'all.
Yeah,
You guys.
Did we read the same book?
Sophie
I tell
didn't
you,
read the same book.
I didn't know that we were going to do episodes, so I'm like bebopping around the house, listening to. I might have walked into another room while it was playing in the other room, walked back in. Like, I wasn't that tuned in. So
No, when they were
Sorry.
on this airplane and she was like trying to talk to him, you know, blah blah. He literally got so violently mad he hit like the seat next to her, and she was like, "I was scared for a minute." She's like,
It
"I
was
didn't think it
giving
would
the
actually hurt me."
beast.
But it was literally giving like,
it ends with us.
yeah,
Terrifying.
yeah.
Oh no. Okay, I didn't remember that part. Also, the way that Josie reacted to him doing that to her, like she was obviously hurt, but she was very level-headed about the whole thing. She was kind of like, okay, I can understand where he's coming from. Let's let him cool off, and like we'll talk about this later. Like she was pissed, but she was also like, you just got your kid kidnapped, like you're gonna be acting irrationally.
I felt like that was an issue that I had throughout the book that was kind of a pattern with our heroine. Like, she just had such a sense of indecisiveness the entire, like there was such back and forth, and I felt like that was exhausting to read. Like I just wish
agreed.
she would have had some more just self-confidence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because a little more self-worth.
She 100, like a
It was-
little, just a tiny bit more self-worth.
A little insecure.
100%, because she had this tendency to just forgive him too quickly, and it was making excuses for him constantly.
Agreed.
It was frustrating to read about.
Yes.
I just, at one point she describes the relationship like juggling with newly sharpened knives. I was like, girl, get yourself out of this relationship there. Then. I was like, if this is how you're describing things, like it
That's
shouldn't
wild.
feel this
I did not catch
painful.
that either.
It reminded me of what this Taylor Swift song, like with the paper cuts, like 1,000 paper cuts. I don't know why I'm blanking out. I'm a true fan, I swear.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Death by 1,000 cuts. Like, I was like, this is death by 1,000 cuts right here with these knives.
We were supposed to do SG's soundtrack. I just forgot we were going to do that before questions. Do you want to go now?
Is it not death by 1,000 cuts?
What? No, it was not death by 1,000 cuts. This song just kind of really, there was a common item that was spoken about at multiple points throughout this book, and it's already been mentioned on the podcast, talking about her dress, and when she bought the dress, she had an intention with the dress. So the song that naturally came to mind is The Dress from Taylor Swift's 7th studio album, I think.
The way that you
we love a studio album.
It was on Red, right? Red?
Reputation.
I feel like I'm on the Warner Brothers Backlot tour with SG. She's
can't with the 7th studio
album.
I'm dead. Oh, I'm so sorry. This was her 6th studio album.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next question. Are we ready?
Yes.
Josie deals with a bit of an identity crisis in the book when it comes to her career. Have any of y'all dealt with that in some capacity? I would say, thankfully, no, I have not. Nothing's coming to mind, thankfully.
I don't think so.
I haven't dealt with like an exact like identity crisis like this. I think sometimes it can be really hard to separate who maybe your family pictures you to be, or people from like different seasons of life, like keeping you stuck in that season, whatever it is, versus like who you want to be, or like the woman that you want to become. And I think it can be tricky. I know that like, I think we all experience this to some degree, like with our families, of like, reverting back even to like the version of ourselves we were like last time we lived at home, which for me was in like high school. Mm-hmm. And so maybe it's not an identity crisis like exactly like hers was, but at the same time, it's like she felt like she should do this one thing because that's what like her whole life had been working towards. But it's like at the end of the day, and I feel like in some ways I sometimes feel stuck. Like I'm playing a version of myself that maybe other people want me to be versus like who I am, if that makes sense. So I definitely was like relating when she was like coming into this. I was like, oh, like I feel like I've walked through something similar.
That's a good point. And it's also kind of a callback to Summer Romance and what's
our
guy's name?
100%
relationship with his parents and like the town. Next up is, what was your favorite thing about the book? Was it the scenery, the love story, the relationship? My favorite thing for sure was just like the scenery, the yacht vibes, the Mediterranean vibes. Like I just loved it, and like the luxuriousness of it. Like I felt like I was on a vacation reading this book.
I agree. I also loved the relationships with like Evan and Andrea and like all of those. Like I thought it was so cool to see like everyone's like interconnectedness. I liked that a lot.
I had the same thoughts. Like I love the description of the food, the drinks, the clothes,
the food.
Like, it just felt very vivid, and I loved that. It made me hungry half the time while reading. It made me want to book a vacation. Like it was stunningly beautiful. Wait, can I ask a question about your least favorite part? Because I have one, and I want to talk about it.
Please share.
Okay.
I felt like the kidnapping subplot felt unnecessary and didn't add to the story's depth.
Really?
I completely agree. Isa, when I tell you when that happened, I was like, what are we doing? Like, we could have ended this book. Like, what are we doing?
I was like, we could have ended this book. What? Why are we now turning this into a murder mystery? It wasn't even a murder, but like I was like, is this a change of genre? Like, why?
I liked it because it was the only thing that happened in the book. Like, there was nothing happening apart from them just walking around the boat trying not to.
That was enough for me. Though I felt like the main character of this book was the slow burn of like, when is this gonna happen? When are they finally gonna like fall into temptation and actually like have a relationship physically and emotionally? Because there was not an emotional one, and it just like that was exciting for the first half of the book. Like I was like, let's get it going. That was it for me. That was enough.
I agree. I almost wish they would have done more like individual character development, because I feel like they got spicy like sooner than I was expecting. And especially knowing how much book we had left, I was like, I wish they would have like almost like slow burned us out, like maybe done it like 350 pages or so and given us more background maybe on the characters' past relationships, like any way for us to know like what their dating history was, and then maybe given us like the, you know, they're getting to know each other, you know, like maybe give them some type of relationship before, like you said, emotional connection before the like banging started. And then instead we threw like a kidnap plot in there that just made me like him less. What?
It felt like really flimsy. And then it made the relationship at the end, which they clearly had a deep one because they got engaged. Like it made the relationship feel like it didn't have like the emotional depth that it needed. It felt like really flimsy because it was just based off sex. It was fun to read. I had a time. I had myself a time.
That's what I'm saying.
Would I have looked back and read it? Yeah, I would have read it, you know? Would I read it again? Maybe not.
Absolutely not.
It was more fun to be able to talk about it. If we didn't have like a group to talk about this with, I feel like it would have been like, what did I just do with... The audiobook was like 24 hours or something crazy like that.
The fact that he would like say random words in French, like bad words, and then just be like, how much do you understand, baby? I was like, boy, like... This is so, like, I was like, I don't find this attractive. Like, and she's like, I understand enough. Like,
no, girl.
I feel like as a whole, we all sound like we absolutely despise this book and we think it's trash. But I have to just be real. I told you I came up front. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I was so happy while I was listening to it. I felt like I was on a vacation. I liked Xavier. Yes. But, like, us picking it apart is making me like feel like I hated it, but like I didn't. I really enjoyed it. So
no, I didn't
keep
either.
it real.
Let's be clear. I loved it. I enjoyed it. There was just a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah.
You can love a book and tear it apart. You know what I mean?
Yes.
100%.
It's like,
I'm going to be so real with y'all. I did not like this book and I'm tearing it apart.
No, I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater.
I'm a hater for sure, because wait till you hear my rating.
She's like, no, but I am.
No, fully. I'm tanking this.
Wow. Okay, let's move along to our ratings then. SG, You want to hit us?
So I gave it a 2-star Goodreads on Goodreads, and I would have given it probably like a 2.5 if I could have.
Okay.
But Goodreads doesn't let you do 0.5s, and like honestly in this case, like I really did not want to give it 3 stars, so I was like, I'm gonna sit like pretty with a 2. But for the purposes of this, like I'll give it a 2.5.
Sophie, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 3.5.
Okay.
3.5.
I'm giving it a 4.
Love that.
I think I'm sticking with my 2, actually. I'm sticking with my 2-star.
Because you heard how high we rated.
No, I just, like, when I think about this and I think about books that I'd probably give a 3-star to, I'm like...
Okay.
I just, like, I would not recommend this book to anyone, I don't think.
We have an overall rating of 3.16, so, like, 3.2. And I think
that's all SG's fault.
I think 3.2 for this book feels pretty good.
I think so too.
That wraps up this very, very eclectic and fun episode of Jolly Cove. I've had a very good time. I thought this episode was so fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And
100%.
Let's talk about the next book. So we're actually going to have 3 weeks in a row of episodes. So that's exciting because typically we do like 1 a month, but we're like episodes back to back for the next few weeks, which I'm really excited about. So the next episode is actually going to be like a fun, looking forward to fall themed episode, kind of similar to this one where it's just like girly catch-ups, talking about our fall TBR and like just fun things. After that is going to be the perfect couple episode, which I'm so excited about because we have to wait for the show to come out on September 5th until we can talk about it. So that's the next book, is The Perfect Couple. Read the book, watch the show, and we will reconvene in September, which I'm so excited about. But anyway, we love you guys. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And we will see you in the next one.
Woohoo! Love you, mean it.
Bye. Love y'all.